A new Miami Heat update has been revealed that indicates one of the key players of the team leaving the Miami Heat, as the Heat will be forced into making a very tough decision for their team that would evidently make them worse, especially in light of a recent injury to Haywood Highsmith and the departure of Duncan Robinson, which would thin the Heat out even more. And we're going to break all of this down. A lot to go over. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Heat Digest. It's Chris here. Guys, if you're part of that 80% that's not subscribed to Heat Digest, we have a ton of great content coming out right now that you do not want to miss out on. You guys have been killing it recently. Let's keep it up and let's jump into the video. There's a lot to go over on the Miami Heat right now. As we know, the Heat have not had the greatest start to things, especially recently, with Haywood Highsmith going down with that knee injury that'll cause him to miss the very beginning of the upcoming NBA season. They are going to be thin when it comes to that wing rotation, specifically regarding the fact that Duncan Robinson also did depart as he left for the Detroit Pistons in a move that wasn't the most shocking to see him head out of Miami after all this time, but it did also net the Heat the opportunity to go get Norman Powell, a move that was a very, very, very good move by them. Now, on top of that, what we've also gone and seen is the Heat make other acquisitions as well. One of them being Simone Fontecchio, someone who has had an up and down career in the NBA, but does give the Heat another role player to rely on, and someone who they could use to really build up through that Heat culture system that gets a lot of role players to play their best basketball. That's what coaching does. When you have one of the best coaches, or, well, the best coach in basketball, what you see is role players, is these type of guys get elevated. We saw it with Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, for instance, Tiago Splitter, Jonathan Simmons, both those two guys back in the day, if you remember some 2010s NBA Spurs role players right there, signed with the Hawks and the Magic respectively. Couldn't get it going in either of those cities. Simmons actually ended up getting traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Markelle Fultz, and Tiago Splitter really didn't do much with the Atlanta Hawks. It turned out to not be a very good contract, and that's really what we see happen time and time again. And also, while we're at it, it might happen, but that's not the point of this video at all. The point of this video is about Simone Fontecchio, because now we're seeing new reports indicating his departure from the Miami Heat before he's even played a single game for the team. Now, in a new report recently shown by Heavy Sports, according to Nico Yenenbayark of Sports Digital, just, it's not American, that's why I said it that way, the Heat could choose to waive Fontecchio. If Miami did choose to part ways with the 29-year-old forward, it would likely be to duck under the luxury tax. According to Yenenbayark, the Turkish team, there's a Turkish team out there whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce, Fenerbahce is monitoring the situation on Fontecchio. Now, Fontecchio last year had a very rough season. There's no way around it. He put up 6 points and 3 rebounds per game with 1 assist. The defense has never really been his big thing. He shot 33% from 3 and 28% on corner threes after being one of the best shooters in the league just earlier in the second or in the first half of a prior season when he was playing with the Utah Jazz and really balling out before getting traded to the Pistons, where his numbers did take a step back, but he still looked good. Fontecchio could not find a consistent role with an improved Detroit Pistons team, and when he got on the floor, he wasn't being an effective player. Now he finds himself in Miami as part of that sign and trade that sent Duncan Robinson to the Detroit Pistons. It also was part of the way that the Miami Heat used to also acquire Norman Powell, which was obviously a great move. Powell much better than Duncan Robinson as it is. It's a win for the Heat either way, but I really liked this move for the Heat when they got Fontecchio. He's someone who is a very solid player who could definitely add something positive to this Miami Heat roster next season. Again, role players get elevated in the right situations. And Hot Hoops, which we know one of the blog pages for the Heat, did mention by stretching him, obviously being Fontecchio, he would be on Miami's books for $2.8 million for the next 3 years. As a result, it would move roughly $3.9 million below the luxury tax, though they would duck below the 14-player minimum, needing to sign someone using the biannual exception at $5.1 million. Part of their non-taxpayer mid-level exception, they wouldn't have access to the full $14.1 million because of the fact that they are over that apron, or they would not have they could use the veteran minimum as well. I can't read, guys, I'm sorry, which would cost at most $2.3 million. So they could go out and sign a guy to a veterans minimum deal. Guys who are still in the market are like a Malcolm Brogdon, for instance, would make some sense. Someone like that. Some sort of combo guard or maybe a wing who you could look towards. Obviously, Ben Simmons is on the market, but I don't know if anyone wants Ben Simmons. Well, some teams do. Sounds like he's going to end up with the Knicks. But look, where it comes down to right now for the Miami Heat going forwards, what we're looking at is a situation where this is a team that has a lot of good on it, and considering how weak the Eastern Conference is this year, if you make the right moves, anything can happen. The Heat have done it as an 8th seed when no one was believing in them, so to pull it off again wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world whatsoever. And the Heat, because of how bad the Eastern Conference is, really do have a chance to be a 5 to 8 seed pretty easily. I mean, look, 1 and 2 feel like it's going to be some order of the Knicks and the Cavs, with the Atlanta Hawks up there as well, and then the Orlando Magic. But after that, it's basically just fair game, open season for whatever team can really show something. I mean, the Pistons should be somewhere around there as well, if I had to guess. But it's not like the whole Eastern Conference is locked up, or it's like there's, really 3-4 teams that are guaranteed playoff teams if everyone stays healthy, like in the Eastern Conference. It's not that many. So the Heat do have an open chance to really make a move and kind of stun the world. And by waiving Fontecchio, I don't see how you get any closer to doing any good for this team. I mean, as mentioned by Yenny Byrak, Fontecchio could be waived by the Heat, and the Heat are considering waiving him to avoid the luxury tax, and multiple teams, mainly that one team, Becco, is closely monitoring the situation on the Italian star, whose potential to Europe or his potential return to Europe is emerging more and more. Now, shout out to Yossi Gazlan for all of his cap sheets and everything. He discusses everything that's going on with the Miami Heat and what their books do currently look like. He mentions that right now they do have $15.7 million ahead of that second apron, and they could dip under the luxury tax as well if they wanted to. That obviously could be done by waiving Fontecchio and then picking up someone else on a minimum contract, but there is the risk that comes with that. It depends on who's out there. Can you get someone better than Fontecchio? And if you want to go with a guy like a Malcolm Brogdon over that, there honestly is a great argument to doing exactly that. So some sense is made there for sure. Now, when we look at the Heat's books overall, just over the next couple of seasons, Bam's obviously on for a huge contract because he's Bam. Tyler Hero has one more year before we really have to start talking about these contract extension stuff more prevalently. Andrew Wiggins will opt into that player option. The question is, will he be on the Heat? He's been somewhat of a journeyman, but also has found some stability with the teams he's managed to find his way to. Now, I mean, when it comes down to it, I do think personally that it would make some sense to see you try to move Wiggins if you can, but he's going to opt into that. So it's a matter of if you could try to open up more money to sign someone. You'll get Terry Rozier's numbers off the books after this year, which will be huge. Norman Powell's an expiring contract. We'll see what happens there. It depends a lot on this season. And then Fontecchio is the next big contract after that. And when you look at a guy like a Haywood Highsmith, a Nikola Jovic, a Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez, all these guys, they do look like they are more valuable right now after that season Fontecchio had last year. And that's something that we should be aware of and should be considering when looking at everything for the Heat. I mean, we just look at the luxury tax, the total for the luxury tax and the luxury tax room of next season. They're going to be $52 million ahead of it. They're going to have a lot of money to work with, and that's going to be absolutely huge. They'll literally have money to spend, too. They'll have open salary cap if you can just make a few moves, and then you could all of a sudden start big fish hunting again, which we know Pat Riley is very good at. So there is some sense to all of this right now. They would really not be risking the second apron at all next year. And when we just look at the rotation right now and everything that's going on, it would make sense for the Heat to keep on Fontecchio or bring in some sort of wing and forward outside of him if they do waive and stretch him. But then you do have to deal with that $2.8 million over the next couple of seasons, or you could just have Fontecchio, who very well could have a bounce back year and go back to that guy who, when he was on the Jazz, he was averaging 15 points per game. Now, he'll have less shot attempts, so he wouldn't be averaging that, but the efficiency can come back. I mean, especially when we consider everything that's going on with the team right now, it would make some sense to do that. I mean, Duncan Robinson left, and with that, you lost a lot of good shooting. 39% from three, 43% on those corner threes as well. 11 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He was able to get himself more well-rounded outside of just being a pure shooter. And with Robinson gone, you could use Fontecchio to try to bounce back and be a great shooter again. Haywood Highsmith is injured and is going to be ramping up by the time the season's beginning, but still, that's going to leave some question marks of when he's going to be fully ready and fully healthy. Knee injuries can be complicated. He's got 6.5 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shot 46% from the field and 38% from three, 44% on corner threes. Highsmith is a great player, and without Highsmith or Robinson, you're going to be running low on some wings to have for this team, especially when Jaime Jaquez Jr. just did not have a great year last year, putting up 8.6 points and 4.4 rebounds with 2.5 assists. Jaquez just did not have the same season he did as a rookie. Now, he'll get a lot of opportunities to do so this year, but at the same time, He's not exactly the shooter that you're going to be looking for without Robinson and without Highsmith for a little bit. So alongside Jaquez, you could try to see if Fontecchio can find that shot once again. What do you guys think? Let me know about this all in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I will catch you later.